Welcome to Modern Stoic Insights. Let's discuss a frustration. I frequently hear men who are having trouble dating say things like, "I'm a nice guy. I treat women with respect. I'm attentive. I'm supportive. I do everything right. So why do they always friend zone me while dating guys who don't treat them nearly as well?" Well, if you've ever thought something like this, you're not entirely wrong. The truth is both simpler and more complex than you think. And today, I'm going to break down the real reason why being nice isn't working for you. Not by turning into a jerk, that's not the solution, but rather by realizing what's going on beneath the surface. This isn't about manipulation or games. It's about genuine human psychology and what genuinely creates attraction. So let's get started. The misconception of nice. First, we must define nice, since there are two different things, pleasant and nice. Sincere kindness, empathy, and concern that originates from one's inner strength and personal ideals are what constitute authentic niceness. The hard truth is that many self-described nice guys practice conditional niceness, which is being agreeable, overly accommodating, and conflict avoidant, not because these are your true expressions, but because you think this behavior will gain you affection, approval, or attraction. It's treating people well because that's who you are, not because you expect something in return. Women may not be aware of the difference, but they may sense it intuitively when your kindness comes off as a trade rather than an honest statement of the hard truth. Consider your own actions. Are you consistently and authentically nice to everyone in your life, or does your niceness level spike around women you find attractive? Do you find yourself agreeing with her views even though you don't really share them? Do you go out of your way to do favors that sometimes feel excessive? Do you compromise your own needs and preferences to satisfy hers, even when setting healthy boundaries would be appropriate? If so, what you're doing isn't genuinely nice. When you engage in excessive people-pleasing behavior, you're unintentionally sending multiple messages that work against attraction. First, it suggests low self-worth. You're communicating that you don't believe you have inherent value and that you need to earn affection through constant agreeableness and service. This behavior is motivated by insecurity and an implicit expectation of reciprocity, and contrary to what you might think, it signals something else entirely from nice guy behavior. This leads to an awkward dynamic where the woman feels in control of the conversation, which ironically makes her feel unsafe. It also produces a sense of inauthenticity when someone is unable to distinguish between the performance and the real you. This produces an uncanny valley effect. Even if they are unable to explain why, there's a basic misunderstanding of attraction at play here. You're using a transactional model which says that if I treat her well, she will reciprocate with romantic desire, which isn't how true attraction works. Fourth, and probably most significantly, this conduct often carries with it a concealed animosity that manifests itself in passive-aggressive remarks when your unspoken expectations aren't fulfilled, bitterness that is hardly concealed, or the well-known claim that women only prefer jerks. This shows that your nearness wasn't real in the first place. This is what women mean when they say they can sense your neediness or desperation. It's not that they can sense your inner state magically. Rather, it's that these behaviors indicate your emotional dependence in ways that make you feel uncomfortable. To be clear, this isn't meant to shame you. Many of us develop these patterns as survival strategies in childhood. So if you learned that your value was dependent on making other people happy, you would undoubtedly carry that into your adult relationships. However, knowing why these patterns developed doesn't mean you have to keep doing the same things. What women discover in reality. What women find appealing in real life. Therefore, if being polite isn't the solution, what are women really reacting to when they are attracted to someone? The straightforward answer is authenticity combined with sensible limits. But let's take a closer look. Women are drawn to men who respect their boundaries, have their own values, and treat them well, not to gain favor, but because they are men who can respectfully disagree or say no at times, have their own opinions, and don't hesitate to voice them. Consider the men in your life who seem to naturally draw women. I promise that they aren't all conventionally attractive, wealthy, or even particularly smooth, but they probably have some things in common. They have a strong sense of self, are aware of who they are, aren't always looking for approval from others, and have passion and purpose outside of romantic relationships. They are kind and considerate, but they don't put their own well-being at risk to please others. They are emotionally honest and appropriately express their genuine feelings, both positive and challenging. These attributes provide a sense of security that paradoxically stems from not needing the relationship too badly when you have your own life values and boundaries. Their lives don't revolve around finding a partner. They have meaningful pursuits that engage them. It is incredibly liberating for both of you when you express that you are choosing a woman because you truly want her in your life, not because you need her to prove your value or to satisfy an emotional need. This relieves pressure on the relationship and permits attraction to grow organically without the neediness that so frequently stifles it. The way to go from being a decent person to being an actual man. Let me offer you some doable steps on how to overcome the nice guy trap and cultivate the genuine confidence that really attracts others. Initially, cultivate self-awareness. Start recognizing when you're being kind because it's truly who you are, as opposed to when you're acting with an unspoken expectation. Take note of when you're agreeing with someone even though you don't share their viewpoint. Take note of when you're overextending yourself in ways that make you feel resentful. Second, practice expressing your true preferences, even in tiny ways. For example, if someone asks where you want to eat, tell them what you really want, rather than just saying, "I don't care." If you have a different viewpoint during a conversation, politely share it. These little moments of authenticity strengthen your ability to be more significant ones. Third, cultivate your own life outside of dating. Invest on your interests, friendships, and individual development, not as a tactic to attract women, but rather because leading a full, fulfilling life makes you a more fascinating and contented person, which in turn makes you more appealing. Fourth, focus on creating healthy boundaries. This doesn't imply being egotistical or careless. Rather, it means realizing that your needs are important and that sometimes saying no is the most caring thing you can do for other people as well as for yourself. Fifth, question the assumptions that underlie individuals. If you think that your value is dependent on pleasing other people, or that you must always be nice in order to win their affection, these ideas will keep you acting in this way until you deliberately consider and change them. Finally, rethink what true kindness means to you. True kindness comes from a place of strength, not insecurity. It's treating others well because that aligns with your values, not because you're trying to manipulate an outcome. If you've been caught in the nice guy trap and wondering why your kindness isn't translating into romantic interest, I invite you to think about the fact that the problem isn't with your niceness per se, but rather with where it's coming from. What else might be communicating is that genuine confidence isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming more fully yourself, expressing your authentic thoughts, feelings, and boundaries while still treating others with genuine respect and consideration. That's the kind of man who doesn't need to gripe about being too nice because his genuine kindness is paired with self-respect. And that combination isn't just attractive, it serves as the cornerstone of wholesome partnerships. Tell me in the comments what aspect of this spoke to you, and I'll read every remark and use it to inform future films until the next time. If this spoke to you, press subscribe for more insights that go beyond superficial dating advice. Select authenticity above performance, since it's more satisfying and not merely more appealing